So hello everyone, welcome to a brand new React.js project. So this is a to-do list application project, a complete to-do list application project. This is a special one because in this one we will be doing the whole CRUD operation for a to-do item. So basically we will create the to-do items, we will read the items, we will update the items, and also we will delete our to-do items. And beside that we will also add this nice filter, as you can see. And also here you can see that in this whole application there will be lots of a small animation which is actually making this user experience really nice, and I will show you how I will actually add this animation using Framer motion. So let's actually add a to do for showing you. So let's say that clean room. So whenever I will add this, you can see that a nice toast message here in the bottom, and it is saying that task added successfully. And also we can actually make any of these to do completed by clicking this checkbox, and whenever we will do that, as you can see that nice animation is happening with this checkbox. I will show you how we will do that. And also here we can actually update the to do, and here whenever we'll do the update, you can see that this nice form is appearing here with this nice animation, and we can see the to do information here. This is a completed to do, and also the title is here. And also say that and create a project. So this is the updated name, and if I update this, I can see immediately the updated title here, which is looking very nice. I really like that. And also finally we can delete any of the to do here if I want to. So if I delete, as you can see that to do deleted successfully. And finally we can do the filter, as I said. It is also working really nice with that. So that's it. In this small application we will do bunch of things here, as you can see, and also we will store all the to-do list in our local storage, and also we will use React Redux to control or to manage our global state here, as you can see. And if I refresh, our to-do is still here because we are using local storage with the React Redux. I will show all of that in this application. So I hope you guys will like this project, and there will be a live demo, a link in the description. So before you want to check what you are going to make in this project, you can actually check the application. The demo link will be in the description. So check the application first and see what you are going to make in this project, and after that you can continue with me. And also if you are interested in UI UX design, you can follow us Instagram. The handle is web_CIFAR. Here you will find nice looking UI UX design for your UI UX inspiration. And also here you will find some nice tips and tricks for your UI UX journey. So if you are interested in UI UX design, make sure that you are following us on Instagram. So here I am in the GitHub repository, as you can see that. So I will provide the link in the description of this repository. So to get started with the project, first of all we need to install our starter files. So for that, in the repository you will find this starter files branch. So let's go there, and here you will find all the starter files for this project. So let's actually download this zip file. So it will download the starter file. So once you have your starter file, you can actually extract this. So extract the file, and here is the extracted file, as you can see. So let's actually rename this, and let's say that React to do recording. So this will be the folder name for now. So let's also delete this zip file, and inside that we will have all the necessary starter files for our project. So let's actually open this with our Visual Studio Code. You can right click here and open with Visual Studio Code, or you can just drag and drop it, open your Visual Studio Code and drag and drop the folder, and it will open the project. So now we are in the project, as you can see. So let me actually zoom it, and here it is. As you can see that these are the files for our starter. So if I open my first file, as you can see that this is the Visual Studio Code settings file, and if you open that, you will find some settings. So these settings are for our ESLint and Prettier, so don't worry about that, and make sure that you have your ESLint plugin enabled here. So if you are using Visual Studio Code, so this setting will work on Visual Studio Code. So in Visual Studio Code, you need to just make sure that your ESLint extension is enabled, and also the prettier prettier, and also make sure that your prettier extension is also enabled, and that's it. And after that, you can actually ready to start the project. And besides that, if you are curious which theme currently I'm using GitHub theme. So if you search GitHub, and this is the GitHub theme that I am currently using in my Visual Studio Code. So that's it. And after that, let's actually see what we have. So after that, we have our public folder, and inside that nothing special. We have favicon, HTML, and manifest.json, and robots.txt. So nothing special is here. So after that, we have our source folder, which is the magic folder where all the magic happens. So here inside that, if you notice, we have our styles folder. So in this project, we will not write any kind of CSS. All the styles, and all the CSS are already written and provided in these startup files. So as you can see that we have all the CSS, and we do not need to worry about style anymore. All the style are given here. We just need to apply those style. So I will show you how I will apply those. So after that, we have our app.js and index.js. So there you can see that nothing we have here, and in the app.js I'm just actually printing this hello world text. And after that, what we have is we have our gitignore and banner.png. This banner is just for readme file, and we have our package.json here. So in the package.json, you have your dependency. So all the dependencies are here, as you can see that. And also beside that, you can see all the specific version that will be installed whenever we will install these dependencies. So that's it. So let's actually start the project by installing these dependencies. So for that, you can open your terminal from here in your Visual Studio Code. And also, if you want, you can use your PC terminal, whatever you have. So I will use my Windows terminal, as you can see. So here, to install your dependency, make sure that you are in the correct folder. Means, as you can see that I am right now in the correct folder. And after that, you need to write npm install to install all the dependencies. So it will take some time, so let's wait for it. And here, as you can see that we are done installing the dependencies, and now we can start the project. So to start the project, if you can see in our package.json, we have these scripts, as you can see. So to start the project, we will run this start script, and we have our build script. Whenever we will be done making our project, we will build this with this build script, and we have also test and eject script. So now let's actually start our project running this script. So let's come here in our terminal, and let's say that npm start. So it will start the project. So now, as you can see that our application is actually started, and it is running on our localhost port 3000. So if you go to your localhost 3000, you will find this hello world text, and you successfully started the project. So if you go to your app.js, you will find the h1 text, this h1 text, which is responsible for our hello world text here. So beside our application, we also opened our final product, as you can see that, so that we can get direction what we will need to make next or stuff like that. So let's actually change our application name. Right now it is Todo app. So to change the application name, you can go to your public folder and find your index.html, and inside that you will find this title, as you can see. So here you can change it and make it anything. So I will just say that this will be to do recording. So now, as you can see that this is the Todo recording, and this is the Todo app. So first of all, let's actually create this Todo list heading, as you can see that, for our application. So for that, in our app.js, let's actually delete this, and here we will create a component. So let's actually create our first component. Inside of our source folder, let's get a new folder with the name of components. So inside this components folder, we will have all of our components. So let's get our first component, which will be page title. So page title.js. So this will be our first component. So let's create it. So here we can actually generate a functional component with this little snippet. So if you are curious how I make this snippet, you can install a extension. So ES6, I think, yeah, this one. Sorry, ES6, not ES6. It will be the ES7 React Redux GraphQL and React native snippets. I mean, this one you need to install. So go ahead in your extension tab and install this extension, and after that you can actually write this kind of snippet, which is helpful. So you can just provide RFCE and it will create a functional component, as you can see. So here inside our function component, let's say that hello from title and save it. And here in our app.js, let's actually use this. So page title, and let's actually import it. So in our Visual Studio Code, you can actually auto import any kind of stuff. For that you need to actually provide your place your cursor in the end of your component name, and after that control space, and it will give you some sort of auto import, as you can see, intelligence sort of things. So you can use that, and I like it very much. So for that you need to just place your cursor in the end of the component name and control space, and it will give you this auto import. So let's actually use that. So here page title, and if I save that, I should see hello from title, as you can see. So that's great. So let's now actually get the children. So if we have any kind of children inside of this page title, we will render it as it here. So let's actually do that. So now whenever there will be any kind of children, I will actually render it here. So let's actually provide a children here. So for the children, we will send our text. So let's say that page title, and here let's say that to-do list, stuff like that. And if I do, I can see my to-do list. Okay, great. It is actually fine. And the problem is, we do not have our font, and also we do not have our style. And if you go to your if you go to your style, you can see that I have a global style for you. So let's actually apply this global style in our app.js, not app.js, actually in our index.js. So let's go to our index.js, and here we need to actually import this global style. So for that we need to go to our styles folder. I think it is in here, styles, and here inside that I have global style.css. Let me actually check what is the file name. It is global styles, so I need to add this s. So now once you have that, as you can see that if I go to our inspect, right now I'm using Firefox, and in Firefox you have this style editor, and here you can see that my global style.css is added, which is fine. And if you open your global style.css, let me actually show you what we have here. Basically we have all of our color variable, and also we have some styles, as you can see, and also we have this container. So that's it. And also after that, in our index.js we need to add our font. So let's actually add our font here. So we will be using Poppins. So let's actually add this Poppins font. So import, and to add our font in our project we are using font source. So we can say that font source /Poppins, and that's it. So right now we have our Poppins here, and also we need to make sure that we are also importing Poppins 500 and Poppins 600, and finally Poppins 700. So that's it. These are all the font weights that we will be using in this project. So once you have that, now if you open your inspect and if you go to the style editor once again, you will see all of the fonts, as you can see that 500, 600, 700.css So everything is added perfectly. Now we should have a nice font in our application. So let's come here in our page title and add some style. So for that we need to import our style, and for our title we already have a module for that. So style from, we need to import our module. So styles, inside of our styles we have our modules folder, and inside that we have our title.module.scss. so once you import this module, and now you can actually apply this. So now here in our component we do not need this div, actually we need only this h1, not h1, actually we will make it paragraph. So here basically we are having a paragraph, and inside this paragraph we can provide our class name. So class name, so this class name will come from our style. So we are using a module style, and for that we just can say a style dot and the class name. So if you go to your title.css, so let's open it here. So inside the styles, inside the modules, inside that here you will find title.module.scss, and if you can see here, this is the class name, so dot title, and you need to make sure that you are actually providing the correct class. So style.title, you need to specify the name of the class here. So after that, if you save, you can see that the style is actually applied here correctly, which means we are actually getting this style from this title.module.css. Great. So now what we can do, also let's say that if we pass any other props in our this component, we also wanna have that in our paragraph. So if I save, as you can see, now if we pass any other prop in this component, it will be available in this paragraph as well. So that's it for our title component, and let's go to our next stuff. So here after that we will create this header. So let's actually create this header. So first of all, we can actually import some style for this app.js. So a style, so which module we will be using in this app.js. So for that, let's go to first of all styles, and after that modules, and here you have a module named app.module.css. so app.module.scss. actually once you have that, now you can actually add your style here. So let's actually create this. So in our class name, let's say that style.app wrapper, and it will give us some style for our this app wrapper, and inside this app wrapper we will have our app header. So app header, so this is a component which we need to make. So let's actually come here in our components folder, and let's create our new component. The name of that component will be app header. So app header.js. So here RFCE to create our functional component, and here we just can say that an h1. Let's say that in this h1 we will say hello from header, and if I save, and let's actually import this, and if I save, I should see the hello from header text which is coming from our app header. So let's come here in our app header and create our app header. So in our app header you can see that we will have this button, and if you can see here in our whole project we will have two kinds of button. First one is this primary button, and also we'll have this secondary button. So let's actually create those button, and for that we will actually create a separate component. So let's come here in our components folder, and let's create our button.js component. So this component will be used whenever we will need a button. So let's actually create a RFCE, and here let's actually create a button. So instead of div we will say button, and we will have our text as a children, and we will have our children from our parent component as a prop. So children will be here. So whenever now we will call this button.js, so here also we have these ESLint error, and for that I think I just can say type will be button, and that's it. So it will fix the error. So let's go to our app header and call this button component, and we can actually auto import this. And once you have that in your application, you can see a button. Right now we do not have any kind of text because we need to provide our text as a children. So here let's say that click me. So if I save, as you can see that I can see my button. Great. Now we need to apply our button style. So let's actually import the style for our button. For our button we have a modules. So let's actually import the styles from this module. So let's go to our styles, and here modules, and inside that we have our button module. So button.modules.scss, not modules. Here it will be only module. So yeah, that's it. As you can see that we have our styles. So now apply this style here in our button. So let's say that style, not a style, I mean class name. Class name will be, let's say that styles. So now as you can see that I can see some style here, and also as I said, there will be two kind of button. One will be primary button and another one will be the secondary button. So let's actually have a prop here which will tell us which kind of button it will be. So variant. So let's say that default variant will be primary. And also beside that, let's have an object here. So constant button types equals to, and here let's say that primary will be the primary text. So we are specifying this because for our classes we need a specific text. So secondary, for the secondary there will be secondary. So if I go to our button modules, let's go to our styles, where it is. So if I go to our button modules, here you can see that in the end we have our these two specific class styles. So in this class styles, if you notice that in the end we have our primary and in the end we have our secondary. So based on our variant, we will actually change these class names. And for this text we need to be specific what we are actually sending from these styles. So that's why we are actually specifying this in object. I think that will be great, and if you do not want that, you can actually directly pass them. So and right now I will just actually reference this primary, which will be ultimately this one. I'll reference this one, which will be ultimately this one. So let's actually do that. So for that there will be one problem. As you can see that right now we are actually using this style.button, and there is no way to actually provide multiple class name in this way. So what we need to do, we need to create a small helper function. So let's actually create this small helper function inside of our source folder. Create a new folder with the name of utils. Okay, so inside this our utils, let's get a new file with the name of get classes.js. So here in this file we will have a function, so which we also need to export. Constant, the name of the function will be get classes, so which will take an array of classes. So let's say that classes, where from this function we will return this array, but before we return we will actually filter out all of the empty. So if I actually say if it is not empty, then we will actually return it, and otherwise we will not return it. Means if it is empty, it will actually filter it out, otherwise it will actually keep it. And also in the end we need to join all of the classes with this space, and also if we have any kind of space in the end, we can trim it out, something like that. So that's it what we need. we will take all of our classes, we will filter out if there is any item is empty, and also we will actually join them with an space, and if we have any kind of a space in the end or in the beginning, it will trim it out. So that's it. So now we can actually use this class in our this here. So instead of that, let's actually delete this and call our get classes function. So get classes, so it will be imported from our these utils, as you can see. And here now we can pass our array. So the first item will be a style.button that we already have. So this will be a styles instead of a style. And here there is a problem, does not match. Okay, so this will be a small g, I mean, so get classes something, as you can see. So now we should have our this class back. As you can see, now we are having the same style, means this style.button is working. So for our second style, now we can pass our second item in the array. So for the second item, it will be style, and we will go to our bracket notation, and here in the square bracket we can say, so make sure we need to actually do this, we need to say button dash dash. So let's go to our backticks here, and let's say that button dash dash, and after that we need to make sure that this will be primary or secondary, whatever the variant is. And for that, what I can do, I can say that here, first of all, let's go to JavaScript, means there can be dynamic value inside this JavaScript. It means inside these curly brackets. Here we can say that button type, and inside this button type we can actually pass our variant. So this should be styles also. So now, as you can see that now we have our primary, and if I actually change it secondary, and now it is secondary. Now here you can see whatever our this variant is, this should be matched with the key, as you can see. So this key, as you can see, this should be matched with this key, but this one means the value should match with our class, as you can see. So that's why I think it will be good if you keep them in an object, so that you can actually see what can be the key and what can be the value. And also in this case we do not need actually this object, because this primary and this key and value are the same. But if you make a big project where you have many kind of buttons, it will be good if you actually keep them in an object. So that's it. So let's actually keep it primary for our default variable, and now whenever I will actually change this variant, I can actually change our button type. So let's go to our app header, and here pass our variant. So let's say that the variant will be the secondary. So secondary. So if I save, not like that, secondary. Now as you can see that this is the secondary style, and primary I can send it as a primary. And if you come here, let's also say that we do not need this. So now it is coming from directly this variant, correct. So after that, let's also specify this. If I go to our button, so right now we are directly saying that the type will be button, but in many cases here, as you can see that it is not a button, it is a type submit, because whenever we will actually click this button, it will submit this form. So the type of this button will be the submit. So in many cases we actually need to change this. So for that, let's also get a prop from our parent component. So the type, so the name of the prop will be the type, and here in our type, let's say that, so here I will just say that if our type is submit, we will actually return submit. If it is not submit, then we will return it as a button. So if I save, so in our header where we are actually calling our this button, so right now we can actually specify our type here. So type, let's say that button, So by default it is button, and if I go to my inspect, I should see it. So now here you can see that the class is here and the type is button. And also now if I actually say submit, now as you can see that it is submit, which means now we can actually change our button type from this component prop. So we do not need any kind of type, because if we do not give any kind of type in this component, it will be by default button. So that's what we need for this one. And also beside that, let's say that if we provide any other prop, it will be available in this button as well. So let's also say here dot rest. So which means if we pass any other props, it will be also available in this button. Great. So that's it for our this button. And after that, we also need this select, as you can see. So let's actually create a select button. So in our buttons component here, as you can see, so in our button.js, let's also create another component here. So function with the name of select button. So here we will actually get all of the children. So it will be almost similar like this button, but there will be a little bit difference. I will show you. So ID and also dot rest. So now here what we need to do, I need to return. What I will return a select tag. So select, so this is HTML select tag, and here I will just say, actually we do not need ID, I can actually pass it as a rest. What I specifically need is children. Whatever the children will be, I will pass it here. And also for our style, we can actually pass our style, and let's say that not class, sorry, not a style, it will be class name and styles dot, and the name of this style will be the button. And here we will actually use multiple class. So for that, let's use get classes. And now here we can use multiple class. We just need to make sure that we are passing those classes in an array. So here inside the array, let's actually pass our second item, which will be a styles dot button underscore select, and that's it. Now we should actually have a good select button. So let's go to, and also let's use this actually rest props here. So rest of the props will be here, and also make sure that you are actually exporting this select button so that we can use it in other place. So let's actually call this select button in our app header. So after this button, let's select button, and let's import that from button. And let's say that inside this select button, we need to pass our option. So let's come here, and so let's say that for our option, we will have an option. The value will be all, and here will be all. And also let's say that we will have an option for incomplete, and here let's say that incomplete, and also let's say that complete. So that's it. Now we should have our all three filter, as you can see. So great. And also in our app header, we need some style as well. So let's actually import our style here. So import styles from, so we need to actually import our module, app module. So let's go to our styles, and here we have our modules, and we have our app.module.css. SCSS. So now we have our styles, and here now we just can say first of all, in this div style, sorry, class name will be the styles dot app header. This should be small a. So that's it. If I save, as you can see that now we have our flex going on here. We have our button in the left side and filter in the right side. Great. So now what I need to do also, let's say that in our select button we can pass the ID, let's say that status, and that's it for our header. So in our app.js, as you can see that we are actually importing our style as a style variable. As you can see that instead of a style, we should actually make it a styles, because it makes sense. In each of our module there will be multiple styles. So I think this is a small details I just forgot. So save it, and after that let's come here in our app header. I mean, in the app header we are done. So after the app header we will need our app content. So this will be the app content. So let's actually create our app content. So in our app we have our app header, and after that we need our app content, and we need to actually create this component. We do not have it yet. So app header, sorry, app content.js and rfce, and here let's say that this is app content, and if I save, and let's actually use this and import this here in our app.js. So now we should have this text. As you can see, I can see the text. Great. So in our app content we will actually show all of our to do here in our app content, as you can see. So before that, let's actually let's come here in our app header, and let's say that instead of this should be add task. Right now let's actually create the model so that we can actually add our task, this model. So let's actually create this model. So this model will be in our this app header. So in our app header, after the select button, let's have our to do model. So to do model, and this will be we need to create. So let's create to do model.js and rfce, and let's say that h1, this is from model. If I save that and come here in our app header and actually import this model, to do model, so make sure that you have the correct name and import that. Now as you can see that we have our model. So this model will be an fixed element, means as you can see that it will be in the top of our application. So we do not need to worry about all of these, because we will not write this css, it is already written for you. So in our to do model we need to just specify the classes, and here let's actually import the styles for this model. So import styles from, so if I go to a styles, and here we will have our modules, and here we will have our model.module.css. so this is the styles. So now we just need to apply these styles. So first of all, in our div here, let's say that class name, and we just can say styles.wrapper. If I save, now as you can see that almost everything is here. And also after this wrapper we will have another div where we will have another class name. This class name will be a styles.container, and inside this one we will have all of our items. So if I save, as you can see that now we have our container. Great. So after that, inside of our container we will need our close button. So let's actually create a div with a class name of styles dot we can say close button, and for the close button we need to specify a icon. So for the close button we need to add an icon. So for that icon we will use md outline close. So this will be an icon from React icons. So you need to actually import this icon. So import md outline close, outline close. So this will be from our React icons /empty. Yeah, as you can see that now we have our close icon here in the right side. So after this, let's actually go to our form. So this form, as you can see, and before this form we will have, so for that let's actually create a form. So this is HTML form tag and we do not need any kind of action for it. And inside this form we will have this h1 where we will have a class name of a styles dot form title, and here we will actually say that add task for now. And if I save, I can see, oh sorry, this form should be outside of this close button div. So let's actually cut it. So this is the opening and closing close button div, and after this one we will have our button. So now as you can see that I can see my add task title. Let's also delete this text that we have for our testing. So now if I save it, so now as you can see that I can see my title here, and also in our form we need a class. So class name will be styles.form. So once I do, I can see that it is now left aligned. Great. So inside this form, after this h1 we need our level. So here for this level, so HTML4 will be title, and here we will say that we'll have a title which will be title, and also the input, this is HTML input. So type will be title and ID will be, let's say that title, and also we will say, yeah, I think that's it. We do not need anything else here. As you can see that it is correctly styled, and also we need to we need another one which will be this select button. So after the first level, let's create another level. So this one will be for type. So let's say that status. I think instead of type we can say status. That will make more sense. So status. So here we will have our select. So let's get a select tag. This is HTML select tag, and for the name let's say that status, and ID will be also a status. And inside this select we will have our option. So there will be two options. So the first option, so for the first option it will be incomplete. So the level incomplete. Okay, and also copy this and paste it here. So for the second one, let's say that it will be complete, and let's also say that complete. So let's make it capital, this one. So now we should have a select with a complete and incomplete option. Great. So now after that, finally we need to add our button. So here we will have this couple of buttons. So after this level, let's come here and let's say that we will have a div with a styles. So div with a style of button container. Yeah, that's it. So inside this div we will have our button. So this is the button component that we already have, where we can just specify our type. This will be submit type, and also we can specify our variant. So the first one will be the primary variant, and here let's say that add task. And if I save, if I come here, okay, this button we need to import that, and if I save, I can see my add task button. Great. And after that, let's actually duplicate this. So we can select and duplicate this, and here we just can say that instead of submit it will be a regular button, and it will be type, means the variant will be secondary, and also the text will be cancel. Now I have this cancel button, as you can see. So great, now we have our model ready to use. So Now right now we have our model, but we do not have any kind of functionality for it. So we will actually have the functionality right now. So in our app header, let's actually create a state here. So let's say that constant model open and set model open, and we will use state hook, and by default it will be false, and we need to import this. I mean use state, yeah, fine, we need to import that. Sometime you need to actually import it manually, sometime it doesn't work well. So now we have our user state from the React, and we have our value in this model open, and we can actually change the value by this set model open function. Great. So now let's say that we will pass those stuff in our app model as a prop. So here let's say that we will send the model open the model open will be the variable that we have as a model open, and also set model open will be the same variable, set model open. Great. Now we can actually use those in our to-do model, and here let's say that in our to-do model, whenever we will, so in our to-do model we can actually destructure those props, and let's say that model open and set model open. So those are the props that we need to use. So first of all, we will check our model open. If our model open is true, then we will show it, otherwise we will not show it. So we can actually do it very easily. First of all, let's actually wrap this whole thing in an React fragment. So wrap this whole stuff with this fragment, and now what I can do, I just can say that if our if model open is true, then we will actually show it. Means we can actually wrap this whole thing by this condition. So let's do that. So now what I'm saying is, here as you can see that model open, so I have an error here. So as you can see that we have an error here. So let's actually make it div instead of React fragment. So this last one is now a div. So and here what we are saying is, if our model open is true, then we will actually show it, otherwise we will not show the model. And if I save that, as you can see that we cannot see our model. The reason behind that is actually our model open is now false. If I make it true, now as you can see that I can see our model open. Great. Now let's say that here whenever we will actually click this close button, so in our close button, let's actually, yeah, here it is, the close button. So whenever I will click this, so on click, what we will do, so we will actually change our model open from true to false. So I just can say on click set model open false, and also make sure that you also have the on key down. On key down it will be same. We can actually copy this whole thing and paste it here. So whenever you have any div as a button, what you need to do, you need to make sure that you have your tab index so that it is accessible. So tab index will be the 0, and also the role for this one will be as a button. That's it. So now whenever I click this, it will close it. Awesome. So, and also whenever I will actually click this add button, let's actually open our model. So here it is our button. So let's say that on click we will open this button, so open this model. So I just can say that on click we can open it. So set modal open true. So now whenever we will actually click our button, it will open our model, and whenever I'll click this close button, it will close our model. Great. And also make sure that whenever I'll click this close button, cancel button, it will also close the button. So in our cancel button, let's also do the same thing. Let's say that on click, set a model open false, and also do the same thing. Do the same thing that you have here. Let's actually copy this and paste it here, and this will be the on key down. Okay, so that's it, I think. And also we need to close these curly brackets here. Fine. And that's all messed up. This is a div, I think. Yeah, fine. So now everything is fine, as you can see. So now whenever I click this close button, now it is closing the button. Great. So also we do not need this div anymore, I think. So we can actually close this and here. And also we do not need these curly brackets in the end here. So where it is, yeah, this one. So fine, as you can see that right now we are just saying that if our model open is true, then we just need to render it, otherwise we will not render it. So we do not need this div, so we can delete this div. Great. So now we have it. So now as you can see that in our model we have our title and status. Let's actually grab those value in an state. So I just can say title equals to title, and set title equals to user state, and here default value will be this empty. So we need to actually import this use state, and also we need to actually have a state for our this status. So let's say that status, and set status equals to user state. Great. So now we can actually apply those variable in our input. So in the input, as you can see that here is the input. Right now we do not have any kind of value, so let's say that value will be the what is the name, title, and also on change we need to actually change the value. So on change here, let's say that we will have this, we will set our title, set title. Let me check, what is it? It is title, yeah, set title and title. Great. So in our set title we will say that e.target dot value, and something is wrong. Okay, this should be curly brackets, okay, this should be curly brackets. So now we are saying that in on change we will actually change the title, set title, and the title will be e.target.value. Great. We need to do the same thing for our status. So in the status, as you can see that in here for the select, the value will be the, so for the value it will be a status variable that we have, and on change we will say that the same thing, set status e.target.value. So now we are actually changing it. And also let's say that whenever we will actually having the default value, instead of having empty, the default value for the select will be the incomplete. So copy this value and come here, and let's say that it will be incomplete, and if I save that, this will be in string. So now if I come here, now it is empty. Now we can change it. Now we have this value in this title variable, and also the value of this one is in this status variable. Now what we can do, whenever I will actually submit this form, so now let's actually catch this submit. So on submit, let's say that in our form, on submit, what we need to do, we need to say that we will call a function, so handle submit. So here in our handle submit, we will pass our this e, and let's actually create this handle submit constant handle submit equals to. So here in our handle submit, we will actually, let's actually console log all the stuff that we have. So console.log, we let's say that title, and also we have the status, and also e.prevent default, so that we do not have the weird refresh stuff. So title and status. Now let's actually check it. So if I open my inspect here, now we should actually see the value. So if I do that, I can see the value, title, and also the status. And also you can actually install this extension, React Developer Tools. It is available in every browser almost. So install this browser extension, and after that you can actually see your all React component tree, as you can see. So if I actually come here in my model, so let me actually refresh this thing. Okay, this is not the one, I want this one. Okay, so sorry for that. So if I come here in our model, as you can see that this is the model, and here inside that we have our in the left side, as you can see that we have our hooks, and these are the two hooks we have in our model. And here you can see that in the first one we have a value of this, the same thing that we have here, and if I change, it will also change, as you can see. So now you can actually see what is happening under the hood. So if I actually change it from complete to incomplete, the state is changing, as you can see. So you can actually see what is happening in your React application from these dev tools, as you can see. So go ahead and install this React Developer Tools, and also beside that there will be another tool that we will be using. So Redux tool, I think, no, Redux Dev Tools, yeah, this is the one. So go ahead and also install these Redux Dev Tools. In future we will be also using this one. So that's it. Now we have our, we do not need this. So now we have our this value, we are catching our value correctly. Now we can, what we need to do, whenever we will actually add any kind of to do, we will actually store it in our local storage. So if you go to a storage, and inside that you will have local storage, and if so, instead of console logging stuff, we will be adding our to do in our local storage. So let's actually do that. So to add our local storage, what we will do, actually we will add it through our React Redux. So let's actually use our Redux. First of all, we need to set up our Redux. So for that we need to actually create our store. So let's actually create our store. And for that, let's actually create a new folder in our source. The name of the folder will be the app, and inside that we will have our store. So let's actually name it as store.js, and inside that we will have our React Redux store. So first of all, we need to actually import the configure store from our Redux toolkit, and after that export constant store and configure the store. So inside this one we need to actually pass our all the reducer. So in this project we will have only one reducer. So let's say that reducer. So here we will have all of our reducer. Right now we do not have, but here will be our to do reducer in future. So right now we do not have this to do reducer. So let's actually create this. So for that, let's actually create a new folder in our source. The name of this will be the slices you can make it something like that, or you can give it any name if you want. So inside the slices we will have all of our reducer, or in this case we will say it slices. So we will have our to do slices. So let's say that to do slices, not slices, it will be only to do slice.js. so here in our to do slice we need to actually create our reducer. So here in our to do slice, first of all let's actually import create slice from React Redux toolkit, and after that we need to actually give the initial value for this reducer. So let's say that constant initial value equals to, so here for the initial value let's say that to do list. So the initial to do list, we need to actually get those initial to do lists from our local storage, right? Because we will actually store all of our to do in the local storage. So whenever our app will run, we need to get our initial to do list from this local storage. So for that let's actually create a function get initial to dos, and we can actually run this function here. So constant get initial to do, and here we just can say, so whenever our app will run we will actually get those to do from the localhost. So sorry, localhost, not localhost, it will be local storage. So let's say that constant local to do list. So how we can actually get a stuff from the local storage, we can say window dot local storage dot get item, and the name of the item will be the to do list. You need to make sure about this name, it should be same always. So whenever you will have that, it will be in a string. So if we have this local storage to do list, what we will do, we will actually return this, but before we return we will actually make it json.parse. So we need to parse it. So local storage, sorry, local to do list. So we are actually getting the to do list from the local storage. If we have the to do list, then we'll return it. Before that we will actually parse it, and we will have our to do list, and here it will be an object, so we do not need this semicolon in the end. So now we will have our to do list in this variable, and we can actually provide our initial value. So let's actually create our to do slice, export constant to do slice and create slice. So in this slice we need to actually first of all name it. Name will be, let's say that to do. So the name will be to do, and let's say that initial value means initial state. The initial state will be this one, initial value. Let's say that initial value, and after that let's say that all the reducer. So the first reducer that we need is to add this to do, we need our to do reducer. So this will be our first reducer. So here in this object let's actually specify it. So add to do, so this will be the name of our reducer, and let's say that here we will have our state. So a state, and we will have our action. So here, so inside this function we need to actually add our to do. So to update with the new to do, to update this state with the new to do, what we can do, we just can say that state dot to do list dot push. We need to push our new to do, and for that I can say that action dot payload. So in our action dot payload we will actually add our to do, means the to do title and the status, and this will actually push it in our state. Great. And also we need to make sure that we are actually changing our local storage as well. So let's say that if we have and for that what we need to do, we need to do the all things once again. We need to get the to do list from the local storage. So to do list dot to do list equals to window dot local storage, and we need to actually get item. So get item dot get item, and here we need to specify the name. So the name will be to do list, and here if we have the to-do list, if we have that, we need to actually parse it. So array will be json.parse. So parse the to-do list. So once you pass that, once you parse this to-do list, you will have the array version of it. So after that, what you need to do, you need to just push it in this array. So to-do list array dot push the new one. So the new one will be, so we need to actually push our new item. So we just can say that push the new one with the action dot payload. So this will spread all the item of our to do, means the title and the status. We will spread those things in an object, as you can see. So you can actually also push this item like that as well. And finally, we just need to actually window dot local storage dot set item, and the name of that will be the to-do list. And here the data, so we need to make sure that we are actually making it string. So JSON dot stringify, which will actually make sure that which will actually make it a string. So to-do list array. So once again, let's actually come here. What we are doing, first of all, we are actually getting our to-do list from our local storage. If we have the to-do list, what we are doing, we are actually making it array by parsing it, and after that we are pushing our new to-do in this array, and after that we are actually setting back our to-do list in the local storage. So this is when we have our to-do list. What if we do not have any kind of to-do list in our local storage? In this case, it is very simple. We need to actually set our new one. So window dot set item, so window dot local storage dot set item, and here we need to make it the same thing, to-do list, and here let's say that JSON dot stringify, and here let's say that it will be the first item. So we can say that inside our array we will have our only one object, and inside that we can spread the action dot payload. Great. Now we are actually whenever we do not have any kind of to do, in this case we will actually set our new to do. As you can see, we are setting the new to do, and the name will be the to do list. And in this case we will have an array. Inside this array we will have only one object. This will be our first to do, and we will spread action dot payload, means our first to do. So that's it. That's what we need for our this whole add to do reducer. So after that we need to export this to do slice. So export default to do slice dot reducer, and also after that we need to get our actions and export them. So we just can say that export constant, we will specify our to do, add to do here, and we will say that to do slice dot actions. So it will give us the actions, and we will actually destructure our to do item, add to do action from this one, and also we are exporting this. So we need to make sure that we are actually exporting the action from our to do slice, and also make sure that you are exporting default this to do slice dot reducer. That's it. So now let's come back to our get initial to do function. Here when we are actually getting our to do list, and also we are checking our to do list, if we have our to do from the local storage, then we are actually parsing it and returning it. What if we do not have any kind of to do list in our local storage? In this case we need to actually set window dot local storage dot set item, and we will actually name it to do list, and we will set an array. So we will say that JSON dot stringify, and here we will actually set an array, empty array. So that's it. and also we will return an empty array as well. So if you do not have any kind of to do in our local storage, we will actually add our to do, or we'll set the item to do list with an empty array, and after that we will actually returning it from here. So if we do that, I think we do not need this else part anymore, because we are actually setting it here. If we do not have any kind of local storage to do list, we will set it. So we do not have this else part anymore, so we can actually remove it. So which means there will be always to do list whenever we will run this add item. So now let's actually add this add to do in our model. So let's go to our to do model, and here we have our handle submit, and in this handle submit we need to actually add our to do. So first of all, we need to check if we have the title and also a status. So status. So if we have those things, then we will actually dispatch our action. So we will say that dispatch this patch. So we will dispatch it. So dispatch is from not this one. So we need to actually have the dispatch, and before that we need to actually create our dispatch. So we can actually create this dispatch method with use dispatch hook. So this use dispatch is from our React Redux, as you can see. So now we can actually dispatch any kind of action. Here we can say the name of the action is, what was that? Okay, add to do. So let's say that add to do, and we need to actually import this add to do, as you can see that. So this is the add to do, which is actually coming from the to do slice. If you come here in the to do slice, you are exporting this. So this is what we are actually importing here. And also in our to do slice, means in our add to do action, we need to actually pass our payload. So in here we need to pass our object with a ID. So here we will have an ID. So for the ID we will use UUID. So let's actually import that. So import, so you need to actually import before from the UUID. So as UUID you can say, and from the package name, which is the UUID, so which will give you a unique ID every time. So you can run it. So UUID, so it will give you an ID. So after that, the next item, which will be the title, and let's say that this will be the title. So this title is this one, as you can see. So if our key and the value is same, we can actually write it something like that. We do not specify the key and value differently. So after that we can do the same thing for our status, and finally we need to get our time, means the creation time. So new date, and we can actually make it dot to local string. So that's it. Now we are actually dispatching this action, so add to do, and whenever we will do that, we will actually pass this payload where we will have an ID, we have our title, we will have our status and the time. Great. So now if I actually save that, I already can see my first to do, empty to do. So this is happening because in our slice, so in our to do slice, you can see that we are actually getting our initial to do. So this will run. So this is the first thing that will run whenever our application actually will start. So here we will actually get our initial values. So in the initial values, we are actually saying that if we do not have any kind of to do list, then create an empty array. So that's what we are actually seeing here. We are seeing an empty array. Great. Now if I come here and refresh, am I having any kind of error? Yeah, I'm having an error. So let's actually see that. So I can see what is happening. I think it is happening because we are not having our to do reducer in this reducer object in our store. So we need to make sure that in our store we are actually having our to do reducer here. So get this slice, means to do slice, and add it in your store. So you can set to do equals to do reducer, and in your to do reducer, that's it. That's sorry, not this one. you need to actually we are actually exporting this one, means export default to slice dot reducer. We need to actually make sure that we are actually importing this thing. So whenever you are actually exporting it as a default, you can name it anything. So if I save that and come here and import it, and whenever I will import, I will actually name it todo reducer from dot slice, so dot slash slices slash todo slices. So in our todo slices, we are actually exporting default this reducer, and we are naming it todo reducer, and we are actually registering it in our store. Now it should be fine. If I actually refresh, still we have our error. The reason behind this is actually we forgot to add our provider. So in our Redux, we need to actually add our provider. So we need to do that in the root level. So let's go to our index.js, and here we need to add our provider. So provider, and we need to actually make sure that what is our store for this provider, so that we can get the value in lower level component tree. So a store will be the store that we have in this store.js. So we can specify it here, and we can import it. So this store is from store.js, as you can see. And also we need to make sure that we are actually wrapping our app with this provider. So provider, also we need to import this provider, which will be from provider. What is happening? So this provider will be from our React Redux, as you can see. So now should happen before app. So let's actually make it here. So now as you can see that it is done. Now we have everything back, means all of our things done. So let's actually recap once again. Whenever you are done creating your slice and reducer, and after that you need to make sure that in your store you are actually registering your reducer. And once you are done with that, you need to make sure that you are actually having this provider in the root level of your project. And after that you need to specify what will be your store. So we are specifying the store.js here, as you can see. And after that, in your component tree, you just can actually use, so that's it. So now in our component tree, means if I go to our model, so now I can actually dispatch any kind of action, or I can actually get any kind of store value. Right now we are not getting any kind of store value, but we are actually dispatching this add to do action. So great. So once it will be successfully done, we should see our reducer, we should see our value in the local storage. So let's come here in our local storage and see. Right now it is empty, so let's actually test it. Hello. So it will be incomplete, and if I add it, yeah, I can see my first one. So here as you can see that we are having our first to do item, and we can see a ID which is generated by UUID, and also the title which is the hello. Status is actually incomplete, and also we have the time. Okay, so in the time, I think we are getting only the date, but we need also the time as well. So in our model, and the reason we are getting only date is because we are actually having our date string here. So it will be only 2 local string instead of 2 local date string. So if I add the third one, means if I add a new to do item, I should see the time as well. So now as you can see, the date and time we are getting from it. So that's it. So let's actually delete this to do list. So now let's actually do one more time. Hello bro. And if I do, and if I actually add a new one, means if I remove everything from our local storage, and after that if I actually try to add stuff, it is not working. The reason behind that is actually whenever we are actually adding it, we are expecting to have our to-do list. We have nothing, means we do not have anything else to do. So if you do not have any kind of to-do list, then we do not have else to do. So let's actually specify back what we had here in our to-do list. Here we said that else if you do not have any kind of to-do list in your local storage, you just can say that window dot local storage local storage dot set item, and we will actually set it to do list, and the value will be the, let's say that json dot stringify. So we will stringify this array, empty array. Inside this empty array we will have our first object with the to do action dot payload. So we will have our first item. So that's it. So let's actually try it. So let's actually remove this to-do list from our local storage. In this time we do not have any kind of local storage to-do list, but we are trying to add one. So hello, and we will try to do that, and as you can see that we have our to-do list here. So in this time it is actually whenever we are, so in this case whenever we are actually trying to add to do, we are not running this if, we are running this as part of the code. Yeah, great. Where we are actually setting a new to do with our action.payload. Great. And after that, in our model we can actually close our model. So whenever we will successfully add a to do, what we do, the next thing, we need to actually close our model, right? So let's do that. So after that, let's actually use our toast package. For the toast package we are using toast from, so if I come here in the top here, toast from React hot toast, that is the package that we are using. So toast dot success, okay, success, and here we need to specify the message. Let's say that task added successfully. And also here it will not work yet because we need to actually render our toaster. So for that, let's go to our app.js, and here in the end let's actually add a React fragment here, and here inside this we need to actually add our toaster. So this is a component from the package, so you need to actually import that. So import toaster, toast, I think, not toaster it should be toast, okay. So import toast from React hot toast. It is toaster actually, not toast. And also in your toaster, so toast, it should be toaster. So now we have our toaster from this React hot toast. Now we can see our toast message whenever we have successfully added our to do. So let's actually try it. Yeah, we can see our toast message, task added successfully. Great. Also if you notice, it is actually too small, so we can actually make a style for it. So toast option, so here we will say that style will be font size will be 1.4 em, and if I save, let's try it, 3, I think that's better. Now font size is bigger. And also what we need to do, we need to change our position. So position, so let's say that position will be bottom right, that's the position will be for our toaster. So try it. Yeah, here it is. And also in our app model, model, to do model, whenever we will have any kind of title and a status, we will add our to do, right? But what if we do not have? In this case we can actually show a toast message. So toast dot error, so let's say that in this case I think we need to use double quotes instead of single quotes. So empty, okay, this one. So if I actually make it empty, now we are having this title shouldn't be empty. Awesome. So fine. So after that, let's also actually close this model. To close this model, we just can say that set model open false. So try it. Yeah, great. So now let's actually show all the to-do list in our application. Right now we are actually adding our to-do list from here, as you can see that. So in our localhost we can see the to-do list here, but we are not showing any of the to-do list in our application. So let's actually do that. So in our app content, so let's go to our app content. Here we will actually show all of the to-do list here. So first of all, we need to get those to-do list. So we will actually get those to-do list from our from Redux. So let's actually do that. So for that, constant to-do list equals to, so we will use a selector, use selector hook, so which is from selector. So we need to import that. We need to import it manually. So import, we need to do use selector from React Redux. So we are having our use selector hook from React Redux, and from here we need to specify which one we want to receive. So here let's say that a state, and we need to say that state dot to do list. We need to specify which one we want to get from our store. So we will get our all the to-do list, and if I console log those, we can actually see to-do list. So if I refresh here, as you can see that we can see all of our to-do list here, and we can see our two to-do here, and as you can see, this is the first one and this is the second one. And also there is a problem, this model is actually opening by default. So let's go to our app model and let's see app. Okay, and this in the header, here we are actually saying that model open true, and this should be by default false. So let's actually make it false, and by default it will be false, and whenever we click it will be true, as you can see. So now back to our app content, where we have all of our to-do list, and now we need to actually first of all let's actually sort those things. Right now we have our to-do list, but we need to sort those to-do lists based on their time. So let's actually do that. So we can say constant sorted to-do list equals to, we can say first of all let's actually make a copy of our to-do list. So to-do list, and now we can actually sort this. So sort to-do list dot sort, and we can do a basic sort for this time. So we will get two item, and we will say that new date, and we will pass the first date, which will be b.time, and we will compare it with the new date a.time. So basically it will sort the to-do list based on our time that we have here, as you can see. So fine, now after that we can actually show those. So if I come here in our div, instead of showing this text, let's actually remove this. So now here we need to actually loop through this sorted to-do list, and we need to show our to-do list. So let's actually do that. So let's say that sort, we need to go to inside the curly brackets, and here let's say that sorted to-do list dot map. We need to actually map it, and first of all before that let's actually check if we have that. So if we have this, and also make sure that sorted to-do list this one dot length, and its length is more than 0, then we can actually show it. We will show it. So let's say that to-do will be here. Okay, so to-do will be here. Otherwise what we will do is we will say that no to-do found, something like that. And if I save, as you can see that to-do will be here, is here, because we have already two to do. But if we have even let me remove all those things from our local storage. If I go to local storage and remove this to do, now if I refresh, no to do found, as you can see, because we do not have any kind of to do, because the length of to do list is less than 0 or equal 0. So now whenever we will actually add, so hola, and now we can see that to do will be here. So instead of showing this to do will be here, let's say that we will loop through to do list. Sorry, we will loop through sorted to do. So sorted to do list dot map. We do not need actually this we just directly can say sorted to-do list dot map, and here inside the map we can actually say that for individual to do, what we will return, we will return a to-do item. For now, let's actually return the to-do title. So to-do dot title, and if I do, as you can see the title of here. So instead of returning the to-do title, what we can do, actually we can return a component which will be our individual to-do. So let's actually create a component here which will be our individual to-do item. So to-do item, not like that, to-do item.js. Let me check my recording once. Okay, it's fine. So in our to-do item, we can actually create a functional component, as you can see, and inside this functional component we can actually take a to-do as a prop here, and we can actually show the necessary stuff. So here in our individual to-do item, each one will have a div and also will have a class name, and here we'll have a style dot, not a style, a styles dot to do item, or only item, I think. Let me actually import the style from here. So import styles from, so we have a module for these to do item, and for that we need to go to our CSS first of all. So styles, and here we have modules, and inside that we have all of our modules. And let me actually see what is the module name. If I go to here, this is a to do item dot module dot scss. So to do item dot module dot scss. So that's the name, and we should have our class right now. So after that, inside this div we will have another div which will have another class. So class name will be a styles dot to do details, and inside this div we will have our checkbox first of all. For now, let's actually have a empty brackets as a checkbox. We will get back to it later. So after that we will have our text, and this one will have a class name of styles dot text, and inside this one we will have our text. So we will have a paragraph, and here inside that we will have our to do dot title, and this will be inside of curly brackets actually. And if I do that, I should see, so we need to actually call this here instead of this to do title in our app content. So instead of this to do title, we can actually call this to do item, and we need to import that. So as you can see that here we are facing some error. The reason behind that is we are not passing our to do here. So we need to pass our to do as a prop here, as I said. So we need to pass this to do, so which will be this to do, as you can see. So as you can see that we can see our if I actually make it big, as you can see that we can see our this square bracket, and after that the name of our this to do. And also you can see that there are some style going on for our classes as well. So fine. And after that also we are having an error, not error, actually it is a warning, because we need to pass an unique key for each of our mapped item. So for that, let's actually pass a key here. So we already have an ID for the same reason, so we just can say the to do dot key, sorry, to do dot ID. So this will fix that. If I refresh, I should see no error, as you can see here. So now we are actually having our first to do. So let's actually add another one. So second to do, and if I add that, as you can see that I can see second to do as well. Great. And here in our paragraph we need to actually pass some style. So let's actually do that. So class name, and inside this class name we need to actually pass multiple styles. So that's why we can actually use our util functionality. So get classes, which we already made, so we need to import that, and inside this get classes function we need to pass our classes as an array. So the first array item will be the styles dot to do text. So now after that, let's actually pass our second class, which we are talking about. So for our second class we need to actually pass it based on our status. So the to do status means this one, as you can see that status is incomplete for this one. So we need to check this one if it is complete. So to do dot item if it is complete, then we need to actually say that if it is complete, then what we will do. So if it is true, then we need to actually pass a class which is we can say style dot to do dash dash. Okay, we need to actually pass it in a square bracket. So to do, this will be text, I mean to do dash dash not dash dash, to do text dash dash complete. So we need to actually pass this to do dash dash complete, this class, based on our status. If the status is complete, then we will pass this one, otherwise we will not do that. We are not having any kind of a style because it is not complete. It will be completed, I think. So here is the problem. This is not todo.item, it is todo.status that we should check. Yeah, now we are having this as you can see that this completed sort of style. Fine, that's great. Now we are having back our this style for our completed. So whenever our to do will be completed, as you can see now, then we will actually pass this style, otherwise we will not. So that's it for our paragraph. Okay, so after that let's go to our time. So after this paragraph we will have another paragraph where we will say that we'll have a class name, and the class name will be styles. So styles dot time, and this one will have our time. So to do dot time, and that's it. Now we are having our time. Also, let's actually format this time instead of having this like that. So we can format it very easily. We just can say that we already installed a package for that. So the package name is actually datefns, from where we can actually get this format. As you can see that this format from datefns. So import that, and inside this format we need to actually pass new date object, and here we just can say that to do dot time, and after that we need to actually pass our format. So let's say that we will format it like that, where we will have m and dd and y. So this is from their documentation, the format I'm having. So you can actually go here in the datefns, sorry, there will be an closing curly bracket. So you can go to the datefns documentation, from where you can actually find their documentation, and you will see about this p. This p is actually this time format that we are having, and also this one, after the comma and a space, we are having the date format, which is this one. So that's it. So we are using this format method from our datefns, from where we can actually format our date, and for that we need to pass our date like that, and also we need to specify which format we want to use. So that's it. After that we can actually come here, and if for each of our to do item we need to actually specify actions, means we can actually delete and to do item, and also edit an item. So for that we need to specify some action, and before we add the action we need to actually add the icon. So for those things, so after our to do details here, so after this div, let's create another div with a class name of styles dot to do actions, and inside that we will have our div. So this is our first icon, so here we will have a class name of classes dot icon, not classes, styles. Here we will say that md delete. So this will be from our react icon /md. So if I save that, we should see our delete icon. So now let's actually duplicate this, and we can make it. So instead of md delete, we can say md edit. So this will be an edit icon from react icon /md. So we can see our these two buttons. Great. So after that, let's actually create function so that we can actually edit and delete those. So let's actually come here, and let's say that constant handle delete. This is a function where we will say, for now let's say that the console.log deleting and let's actually copy this and paste it here. Instead of handle delete, handle update, and let's say that updating. That's it. So now we have these two functions here which we need to actually call. So whenever we will click this two icon, we need to actually call those. So based on here, we can say on click. Whenever we click, we will actually call this. We directly can call this. So this will be handle delete because that's a delete button. So handle delete. And also role will be button, and tab index will be 0. And finally we need to do the same thing for our let's actually copy this and paste it, and instead of on click, this one will be the on key down. So this is for our ESLint stuff. So now we have our on click and on key down, but it should be okay, but we are saying that handle delete. Okay, the name is okay, the name is wrong. Now it should be fine, as you can see. And also we are getting some error, right? No, we are not getting any error, as you can see. So now we need to actually specify the same thing for our this edit button. We need to say that let's actually copy this thing and paste it here, and let's say that instead of handle delete, it should be handle update, right? And also here, so update, and that's it. Now if I click, handle updating and handle deleting. So fine. So now let's actually delete this item whenever we'll click this icon. So for that, in our slice, so let's go to our slice, which is here. So in our slice, as you can see that we are having a reducer where we have a item which is add to do. So we need to do the same thing for our remove item. So it will be similar to this add to do, but in this time we will be deleting the item. So delete to do. So name it, and here let's say that delete to do, and here let's say that first of all, let's actually get the state, and also we'll have the action. And here let's say that first of all, we need to actually get all the to do from the local storage. So constant to do list equals to window dot local storage dot get item, and where we'll specify the name, which is the to-do list. Now we are having this to-do list, so we will check. So if our to-do list is here, means if we have any kind of to-do list, then what we'll do? So we will say that if we have to-do list, then we'll parse it first of all. So to-do list array equals to, so json dot parse, and here we will say that to-do list. So now we are having the array. So after that, we need to actually check which one we want to delete. So for that, we will actually pass the ID in this action payload, so we can actually check with that. So to do list item to do list array dot for each. So we will loop through each of them. So we will loop through each of them, and here for our individual to do and also index, we just can say that if our to do item, sorry, to do dot id, what I am doing, so not to do, it is item. So let's actually make it to do. So for our individual to do dot id, if it is actually matching with our action dot payload, so in our payload we will actually pass this id, which one we want to delete. So if we match, if we have a match here, what we'll do? So we will actually splice it out from the array. So to do list array dot splice, and we will say that which one we splice. We will say that the index one. So the index one will be a splice, and from the index one, how much we want to splice out. So we need to say that we want to splice out only the one. So it will be the one which is actually matched with this ID, as you can see. So after that, we will have our to do area, which we can actually set back to our local storage. Fine. So let's actually do that. So here after that, let's say that window dot local storage dot set item, and where we'll say the name of that item, so to do list, and JSON dot stringify, and here we will pass the array. So to do list array, and that's it. It will actually set back the to do list array, and also finally we need to actually also update our state. So this initial state, we need to update that. So let's actually do it with the new array. So we just can say that state dot to do list. The to do list array will be the new array that we have after this splice out. So to do list item, sorry, to do list array. So fine, now we have our delete action ready. So we can now actually export this action from here. So to do list, sorry, delete to do. So inside this reducer, now we have our to do reducer ready. From this reducer, we can actually we are generating actions, as you can see from here. So which we can actually now dispatch in our to do item whenever we are actually deleting. So now let's actually do that. So here, instead of saying this console log, let's actually delete this. So before we dispatch our action, we need to actually get the dispatch. So constant dispatch. So for that, we need to actually, to get the dispatch, we need to use a use dispatch hook from the React Redux, as you can see. So we are now having this dispatch method from where we can actually dispatch any kind of action. So the action also we need to actually import. So let's actually auto import that. So let's say that delete to do. So let's auto import this delete to do from the to do slice, and here we can actually pass our payload. So as I said, the payload will be the ID, so to do dot ID, and that's it. That's what it will take. So now whenever I will, let's go to our storage and let's see how it is actually happening. So if I come here in a local storage, as you can see that now we have this 3 0 1 2, and if I actually delete the first one, okay, something is broken here, as you can see that. Okay, this is a serious problem. I did a mistake here. So as you can see that we are actually having this delete to do out of this reducer, as you can see. So we need to have this all the reducer inside this object. So let's actually select everything and move. Let's move those things here inside this reducer. Now it should work. Now we have our reducer back, and now whenever we will actually delete, let's go back to our storage, and here we can see all of our 3 to do. Now if I actually delete one, as you can see that one is actually gone from here. Now we have only 2. So also we can see the update here. Fine, everything is great. Now we can also do a toast message here. So whenever we will actually delete an item, after that we can actually say toast dot success. We can say so that's it. So if I delete, as you can see, to do deleted successfully. So now we are actually handling the delete correctly. Now we need to do the same thing for our edit function. So this one. So let's actually do that. So in our edit function, whenever we'll click, we should actually have something. Let me actually open the final version. So as you can see that whenever we will click this, we should have open this model, as you can see that, which is our to do model that we already have, but we need to actually do some adjustment here. So in our to do model, let's go to the to do model. So now what we have in our to do model is we have this to do model, as you can see. So we need to adjust this thing so that we can use this same model for the adding a stuff and also updating a stuff. So let's actually do that. So how we can do it? We can do it for that, first of all, let's actually specify a prop here. So type, and we need to actually check this type. It can be a create type or it can be an update type, right? So we need to actually check that. So now come here in our title where we are saying the title. So instead of having the title, we will actually where it is, not title, sorry, this one, I mean add task. Here it is. So instead of having this add task, we will actually render it based on our type. So if our type, if the type is add, then we will actually render add. So we will do a ternary operation here. So we will render add. If it is not an add type, then we will actually render update. Correct. Now we are not having any kind of type, so that's why it is an update. So you can actually do it opposite. You can actually check for update, then it will be update here, and then it will be add. I think this is this can be actually good, because whenever we will not specify any kind of type, then it will be a form for our update. So great. So now we have this add task, but whenever we will specify the type is update, then it will be an update task. And also do the same thing for our this button. As you can see that now we are saying that add task, and here let's say that instead of having the add directly like that, let's say that if our type is update, then let's say that update task, otherwise let's say that add task. Fine, now it should say add task. So let's go to our app. So now let's go to our app header where we are calling this model. So app header, so where as you can see that we are calling this model, and here let's say that the type will be add. So right now it will not do any kind of difference. Let's actually go back to our model and let's add the functionality. Whenever we are actually clicking this add task button, what we are doing. So if I come here, we are submitting our form. So we need to check before we are actually submitting, because here we are actually adding a task or we are adding a to do. So instead of adding a to do, we will actually do a check first of all. So after the prevent default, what we can do actually, first of all, let's check if our title is empty. We will check and we will do an toast error. So toast dot error, and here we will say that please enter a title. Fine, and after that we will actually check our this type. So when we are actually checking this title and status, whenever we have the title and status, and after that we will check it. So here, so if our type equal to add, then we will do this thing that we are already doing here. Otherwise, if the type is update, then we will, for now let's actually say that console log updating task, and if I save that, so now let's go back to our where in our item, because here from here we'll actually open this edit model. So let's go back to our item, and here whenever we will click this edit icon, means this one, we are calling this our update handle update instead of console logging this. Let's actually delete that and call our model open. So to open our model, we need to actually render it first of all here. So after this all div, let's actually do a React fragment here and wrap everything inside it. So here now inside this fragment we can say, so inside this fragment here we can say our to do model. So to do model, right? something like that. We need to import that, but for some reason it is not importing. So to do model from, so we need to go to our we are already in the component folder, we just can say to do model. So now whenever okay, something is broken. So to work with this to do model, first of all we need to actually specify the model open and set model open. So we need to specify it. So constant, let's actually make it here. So constant update model open and set update model open, and here we can say user state, and this will be an empty, sorry, not empty, what I'm doing, this will be false. By default we don't wanna open it, and we need to import this user state from React. So here after that let's also import this use state. Fine, now we are having our user state, and let's actually specify our model open. So model open will be set model open, sorry, model open will be update model open, and set model open will be the set update model open. So that's it. Now we are actually passing these two, model open and set model open, inside this to do. Now it should be fine. Now if I refresh, now as you can see that it is fine, it is not complaining anything. And now if I click this, what we need to do, we need to change this model open to true instead of false. So let's do that. So let's say that set update model open to true, so which will actually open our model. So if I click that, as you can see that we are having our model back. So now it is still, as you can see that add task, because we are not passing any kind of type here. So type will be the, let's say that update, and if I save that, now you can see that it is update task and update task button here. So now what I need to do here, we need to actually if I update this task and if I click this button, we should see please enter in title, and title shouldn't be empty. So we are getting this error, as you can see. So let's actually set a test, and also here as you can see that I can see an updating task, and let's actually fix it. So we shouldn't have these two error, we should have only one error. So if I go to our model here, when we are actually checking for empty title, we are actually passing this, or we are actually showing this error, as you can see, toast error. After that, let's actually return, we do not need to go further. So now if I do that, we should have only one error. So great. And second error will actually show if we do have both empty. So now after that, here let's say that also we are actually, now what we are doing, we are actually console logging this, as you can see that, because whenever our type is update, we are only console logging. Instead of console log, we need to actually dispatch an action here, as you can see. So let's actually create this. So in our to-do slice, we need to create an action for updating. So in our to-do slice, let's actually create this one here. So after our add to do, after create to do, let's create our third one, which will be the update to do. And here we will have the state, and also we will have our action. So in this action, we will pass our updated title or updated status. So whatever we want to update actually. So first of all, here inside the function, we need to get the to-do list. So constant to-do list. So we need to get the to-do list from the window dot local storage dot get item, and here specify the name of the item, to-do list. That's it. So now we are getting the item. So if we have the item, so if we have the to-do list, then what we will do, first of all, we need to actually parse it. So constant to-do list array equals to, so JSON dot parse, we need to pass the to-do list. So whenever we are actually getting this from the local storage, it is a string, and from the string we need to parse it and make it an object. So after that, not object, it will be an array in this case. So first of all, we need to actually search for the item that we want to update. So we can do it very easily. We did it here. We need to actually look through everyone and see we are having a match with the ID. So the ID will be given in our action payload. So we need to actually search with that. So to do list array dot for each and every to do and index. And here we need to actually say that if our todo.id is similar with the one that we have in our action.payload. So now in our payload, we will not have only ID, we will have also title and stuff like status. So we need to specify now which one we wanna get from the payload. So the one we wanna get from the payload is the ID. So after that, let's say that if we have a match, then we will actually change the todo.status equals to the equals to action.payload.status. So we will change the status. Same thing for our title, I mean. So we can say that title will be the action.payload.title, right? And once we have that, what we'll do, so we can actually return back, means we can set back this local storage. So after that, let's come here. So window dot local storage dot set item, and here the name will be to do list. Make sure about that, and this should be always same. And we can say that JSON dot stringify, and we need to pass the array. So to do list array. Great. We are getting the item, we are making it array, we are searching for our ID, as you can see that, and we are actually updating the to do, and after that we are setting back this to do list in our local storage. Also we need to set our update our state with this new one. So we can say that a state dot to do list, the new to do list will be, we can actually set the to do list with the new one, which is this array. So to do list array, that's it. So now we are setting back our to do list, means we are updating the Redux state as well, as you can see here. So that's it. I think we are done with our update to do. Now we can actually return, specify this update to do reducer, and it will make it an action. Now we can actually dispatch this action in our model. So if our model type is update, then we want to actually dispatch this. So here let's actually delete this line of console, and here now we need to do one more thing in our update to do, in our update model. Whenever type is update, beside that we need to get the old to do. So to do, so whenever we are actually updating it, we need to get our old to do, then we can actually have a match. So whenever you are updating, we need to actually match it. If we have the same thing with the old to do, that, so let's actually show you what I mean. So to do dot title, so this is the old to do, and we need to check it with our new to do. If our new title. So what is this title? It is the title that we are having from here, as you can see, and also the status. These are the value from our this input. So we are checking with the updated value and the old value. So if these two is the same, then no changes is there is no change, I mean. So then we do not need to actually call this. So we need this verification that we are having actual change for updating the to do. So, or we can say to do dot status means the old to do status is not same with the new status that we have. So in this case, means if it is not matching with the old one, means we are actually updating it, then we will actually call our dispatch function. So dispatch, this method will actually take our action. So we need to actually update to do, we need to do that here, and here inside that we need to actually pass our payload. This will be an object, and here we need to specify all the item that we had in our old to do. So this is the old to do that we are getting from our prop. Once again, we will specify all the means we will spread all the old to do item, and for the update we also pass we will also pass the title and also pass the status. So now it is an object where we have all the item in our old to do, and it will actually override the title and the status with the new title and the status. Great. And we are having an error. I don't know why it is actually importing this to do slice, but it should not. So now we are having this. So we are actually we are getting this to do update to do action from this to do slice, as you can see. So great. So now it should check whenever we will actually open this, and if I actually update this one, it should check that if our old title and the new title it is matching. So if it match means there is no update for the title, and also if it match with this one, we are not having any kind of update, and in this case we can actually show an toast error. So toast dot error, and let's say that no changes made, right? So now if I do that, we can see that so we are actually having the error from here because there is no title right now, because the title is empty, as you can see. So also we are actually still having a problem, because as you can see that whenever we are updating and to do, we should expect to get the title in our title input, right? So we can do it very easily, because right now what we are actually doing, if I go to our to do item, from where we are actually rendering this update model. So when we are actually passing type update, we should also pass this to do as well. So let's actually do it. So to do, which will be our to do item that we are getting from our props, right? Great. So now what you can say is whenever we will render our update task, now we are having our old to do. Now we can actually specify the title will be the old to do title. So we are having the title empty, as you can see here. So what we can do, we can actually do an use effect. So inside this use effect, so here we need to actually check if our type is update or not. First of all, let's check the type. If the type is update, means it is a update model, then also we need to check if we have the to do or not. So if we also have the to do, then in this case we can actually set the title, set our default title for this input will be the to do dot title, right? And also do the same thing, set status will be the to do dot status. And also here we need to specify when it will actually what is the dependency for this use effect. So in the dependency will be the to do, first of all it will be the type, as you can see, and also it will be the to do. And beside these two, we need to actually make sure that we are running this thing whenever we are actually opening our model, because whenever we will open our model, we need to check if it is a update model or a add model. If it is a update model, then we need to actually do this thing, right? So we need to actually make sure that we are actually calling this function or calling our use effect function whenever we are actually opening our this model. And how we can do that? We can do it easily by adding this in our dependency, the model open, because this is the one which is changing whenever we are actually opening our model, right? So by default it is false. Whenever we are opening our model, it is true, means it will change every time you will open your model. So that's what we need to actually add in our model, sorry, in our dependency to check. So right now we are adding this in our dependency, so whenever its value will change, it will check it. And also after this thing, we need to check, we need to do an else. What we need to do, we need to actually say it will be the default value of this title will be empty, and also the default value for our set status will be the incomplete as well. So copy this incomplete and paste it here. So here what we are saying is, if our type is update and we have the to do, then we will actually update it with our all to do. So let's actually open our edit and see. So if we open the edit, okay, it is not updating the title. Okay, so we are having our to do, right? And also in our item we are passing, right? We are passing our to do. Okay, we are not passing still, we need to pass it like that. So now we are passing our to do. Okay, so if I check right now as you can see that we are having the title of our all to do. And now if I actually update it, no changes made, because this old title and the new title is not is the same. I mean, if it is not same, then it will actually update it. If it is same, then it will actually show this toast error, right? So now if I do that hola 2 or hola updated, then it is not actually matching with this title or the old title. Then we can actually update it, and as you can see that here the hola is updated, means the title is updated, I mean. So great. So whenever we will finish the update, what we need to do is we need to close our set model. So here as you can see that here we are done with updating. We can actually close it after this line, but we will not do that. Also we can actually delete this close whenever we are done with the adding. We can actually delete this stuff. We can say whenever done we are adding or we are uploading, after that we will actually do that. So it will work for both adding and also updating. Then it will actually update, or it will update the set model and make it false and close the model, right? So let's just do that. So updated 2, if I do now updated 2, and the model is closed automatically. And also here when as you can see that we are checking for the title. Yes, we are checking for the title, so we do not need this title shouldn't be empty anymore. So we can actually remove this else statement, because we are checking it here in the top, the title is empty or not. So great. So now as you can see that it is great. Now we are having our delete and update working. So add another one. Whenever we'll add, let's say that another task, and if I save it, now we are having it, as you can see. So now let's actually update it and make it complete. Okay, so now this one is complete, and let's actually check. Now we are having this completed style automatically. So great, it is working correctly, means we are having the functionality for these two. So now let's actually work on this check mark, as you can see. So I mean checkbox. So in our to do item we are having this checkbox here. So let's actually show the actual checkbox. So for that, let's actually create a component. So not this line, this line. So let's actually name it, and let's say that check button, and we need to actually create that. So come here and create a component, new file, and check button.js and rfce, and here let's say that checkbox, and import it here. Now we are having this checkbox text. So great. So instead of showing this checkbox text, as you can see here, we will actually show a checkbox here. So we will first of all, here will be an class name. The class name styles dot svg box, and let's actually import this thing. So I mean import a styles here. I mean styles from dot slash styles slash modules slash to do item dot module dot css, right? Now we are having this div. Inside this div we will have our svg. So let's actually have that. So let's actually paste the svg. I will provide the svg. So I will provide this svg in your starter file. Right now we do not have it, but whenever you are watching this, you should have this SVG in your starter file, or maybe I will actually provide it in the starter file branch readme. So check the readme of your starter file branch. Maybe there you will find this SVG. So I'll provide this anyway. And here we need to actually pass an class for this SVG. So class name will be the class name styles dot svg. So now as you can see that still we cannot see it because it is white, and if you want to see it, you can actually inspect this, and here you can see that stroke white, and you can make it red or any color. And as you can see that we can see our checkbox here, means I mean the check SVG, not the checkbox. So here you can see the SVG, and let me show you. If I go to my final project here, whenever we will actually click this SVG, it will animate, as you can see. So whenever we will actually check, it will animate, and now it is completed. As you can see, if I open, so now the status is completed, and whenever I will click again, as you can see that it is animated and it is gone here. And if I open it, as you can see that it is incomplete. So we will actually do the functionality. Whenever we will check this box, means it will be a completed to do, we will update the to do, and whenever we will actually check again, it will actually update again. So let's do that. So let's go to our to do item here. So here in the to do item, let's actually create a state. So constant checked, so set checked. So I can say user state, and here false. By default it will be false. And also in a use effect, we will actually give the variable here value, means give this one a value. So here we will check if our to do dot status is complete, then we will actually say that set checked will be true, else it will be to do dot status, sorry, set checked will be the false. So what we are doing is, let me actually import this thing. We are importing, right? Yeah, we are importing it. Okay, the dependency array will be this empty, or what we need to do is we need to do the to do status. If the to do status change, it will actually rerun. Okay, so here what we are checking is we are checking the completed. So if it is completed, then we are updating the value of this checked, it will be false, otherwise it will be true, otherwise it will be false. So based on our completed, it will be true or it will be false. So we can actually do it here, as you can see, but instead of having the default value false, we can actually check the to do status. I think this is good because if you are a beginner, that makes sense what we are doing. So yeah, you can actually do it in one line, I think. So after that, let's actually pass it in our checkbox. So here in our checkbox, I mean the check button, let's pass the checked and also set checked, because we will use those in our checkbox. Sorry, set checked. So we are actually passing this in our check button, and if I go to our check button, let's actually grab those check button, sorry, checked and set checked. So here in our check button, now let's actually finish the animation. So what we can do, instead of having this div, we will have this motion.div. So this is from our framer motion. So whenever we will use our framer motion in an element, we will actually make it motion.div or motion.element, I mean. So this will be motion.svg because we will animate it. So motion.svg. So also this will be motion.path because we will animate it with the motion. So now after that, we need to specify what we wanna animate and stuff like that. So for that, what we can do, we can actually specify the variants for our motion. So let's actually do that. out of our function, we can specify the variant. So check variant, let's say that check variants. So here in this object, so we will have 3 variants. First of all, the initial. So in the initial case, we will not do anything. We will just say that the color will be the white. Okay. But we will have our most important 2 variant is the checked variant. So whenever we are checked, what we will do, we will complete our path length. So path length, the path length will be 1. And also, okay, we do not need this semicolon. So after that, we will have another one which will be unchecked variant. So here what we will do, we will actually make it path length 0. So basically this 2 is the main variant. Whenever our variant in our check variant, we will see the full path line as you can see right now. But whenever the unchecked variant will run, it will be, let's make it a small case, so lowercase unchecked. So whenever this will run, we will see the path length 0, means we will not see any of the SVG, check SVG, as you can see here. So in the path length 1, we will see the full SVG, and in the path length 0, we will see no SVG. So that's it. So we can now specify in our div here, and let's say that animate this one based on our props. So we are having this checked prop, right? So based on this, we will run our variant. We will run this one or this one, right? So if this is true, then we will run the checked variant. Otherwise, we will run the unchecked variant. And great. So after that, we need to specify what are those. This is now an string, but we need to say that these are the actually variants. So what is the variance? We need to specify also that. So the variance will be this variable that we have here. So variance will be checked variance that we have. So great. Now we have these 2. And after that, we need to specify whenever we click on this button, what we want to do. So on click, right now, let's actually console log checked clicked. So now we are console logging. So if I go to console log and if I click, checked clicked, as you can see. So also we are not seeing any kind of animation right now, because we need to do one more thing in our path. So this will happen mainly on path. So if I go to our path here, and let's say that variance. So for this one, we need to actually specify a separate variant. So let's go to our here in the top of the file. So constant path, or you can say box variant. Okay, I think I missed something here. Okay, so here I think I did a mistake. This check variance will be for our path. So let's actually move it from here to our path. Fine. And also we need to create a new variant for this div. So this variant, the check variant, it is for our path, because as you can see that it makes sense. The path will be changed in the path, right? So right now we are having this, and for the box, let's actually create the new variant that we are talking about. So constant box variant. So this is for the outer div that we have here. So this one will have also a checked and unchecked as well. So checked will be, so whenever this will check, so this box variant will have also some changes. So whenever it is checked, it will have this background, blue kind of background, and whenever it is unchecked, it is gray background. That's what we will specify for the outer div. So background, okay, I think I need to type it background will be the, so variable, we can specify our variable here. So we can say that primary purple, and also the transition for that, the duration will be 0.1, and make sure that you are not having the semicolon, it will be comma. So for the unchecked, we need to do the same thing. The background, for the background we will have this gray kind of background here. So I can say whenever it is unchecked, the background will be variable dash dash gray. We already have a variable for that. So after that, we need to specify the transition, and here we'll say that duration will be the 0.1 as well. So great, now we are having this transition and the duration here for our checked and unchecked. And also, as you can see that whenever unchecked, whenever checked, it will be blue, and whenever unchecked, it will be gray. So based on these two variant, we can actually see some animation. So we need to specify this variant here in our outer div. So the variant will be the box variant that we specified a little moment ago. So great, now as you can see that we can see our if I refresh, it should be white here. So we can see our color is changing, because as you can see that whenever I'm saying that it is true, means the checked is true. In this case, the checked is true. As you can see that it is a completed to do, so that's why the checked is true. And whenever the checked is true, we are actually saying that the variant style that we want is a checked one, means it will be background purple, and duration, as you saw, it was 0.1. And whenever it is unchecked, means this one, it will actually give the background gray. As you can see, as you can see here, the background is gray one. So great, so now we are having it, but whenever we click, we will not having any kind of animation for this path. So the reason behind that is we need to actually specify this animate property in our path as well. So here we do not have animate property right now, so let's actually do that. So animate, so we will do the same thing. If it is checked, means we will check it with the prop. If it is checked, then we will say that checked, otherwise it will be unchecked. And now we should see, okay, still we are not seeing, and the reason behind that is we need to actually pass this pass this path length. So right now this is not a CSS property, path length, so we need to actually pass this from our framework motion. So we need to get this path length and we need to pass it. So in our function, constant path length equals to use motion value. So we need to actually use motion value for that, and we can actually say it initial value will be the 0. And also here we can say for the opacity, constant opacity will be use transform. So this will be also from framework motion as well. So path length, and we need to actually pass the range here. So let's say that 0.05 and also 0.15 and 0 and 1. So what is happening here? We are actually saying that we will have also we will have this opacity based on our path length. If our path length is 0.15, we will have the opacity 1, and if it is 0.05, then we will have our opacity 0. So based on our as I said, we will actually change our path length, right? It will be from 1 and it will change it to 0, and whenever it is changing, we want to change also the opacity. Means whenever the path length is 0.15, then we will change the opacity and we'll change it from 1 to 0 based on this range, as you can see. So great. So now we can actually pass it in our path. So here in our path we can say a style. Those we want to use will be path length and the opacity from the framer motion. Let's actually refresh and see. Okay, sometime you need to refresh the page. Okay, so if now we can see it, but let's actually do the test. So if I click it, okay, it's still no animation. Okay, and it is not having any kind of animation because we are not changing the state. It will have the animation if we change our state. So let's actually change the state based on our click. We can change it with this set checked, right? So let's say that set checked will be whatever the checked is, and we need to make it opposite. So if it is true, we will make it false. So now it will actually change the value of this checked. Now we should see an animation. As you can see that we can see our animation here. So great, the animation part is done, as you can see that. So it is working correctly, but we should not actually change our checked value from this, as you can see here, because whenever we are actually clicking this, we are not only actually checking this box, we are also updating the whole to do, because whenever it is checked, it means it is completed, and whenever it is unchecked, it means it is incomplete. So we should not actually check it like that. What we will do, we will actually update the whole to do. So for that we need to actually, we will do it in our to do item. So let's go to our to do item, and from our to do item we will actually import, or we will pass an method. So let's actually call the method, which will be handle click or handle check. I think that will be a good name. And also we can actually remove this set checked because we do not need that anymore. So we will need these checked and handle check, and whenever we will actually click on this one, means on this div, we will actually call this handle check. So great, now we are actually calling our handle check whenever we will actually click, and right now we do not have any kind of handle check, but in our check button, as you can see that we are not passing any kind of handle check. Also let's actually remove this, as we removed from the checked button. So here we need to actually pass our handle check, and this will be a function that we need to create, handle check. So let's actually create this function here, constant handle check. Okay, here let's say that console log update to do. Okay, so if I click this, okay, let's actually refresh, and if I click this, as you can see that update to do, that's what is actually coming from here. So in this update check function, we need to actually check the to do status. So for that we can actually use our if I go to our to do slice, we already have a action which is this update to do. So this will expect to give it a to do item, means it will we will need to do ID, to do a status, and to do title as well. So yeah, we need to actually pass those things, and it will update it. And let's actually do it. So in our app head, not app header, in our to do item, let's actually delete that, and let's say that dispatch, and here I can say update to do, which will be from our slice. Do we have dispatch? Yes, we have dispatch. So so in this update to do, we need to pass the payload where it will be a complete to do that will be updated. So we need to say that we can pass the whole to do that we already have here. And also beside this to do, we need to pass our status, because that's what we are actually changing. So we can specify it here, status. So if our status is already checked, then means we are unchecking it, so we can pass incomplete, otherwise it will be complete, right? So if it is already checked, means we are making it incomplete, means we are unchecking it. If it is unchecked, means we are actually checking it, means we are actually making it complete. Okay, great. And also beside that, let's also change the value of this check. So for that we can actually simply say set checked. So this will change the value of this check, and ultimately it will actually make the animation, and this will actually change the state, and it will also change the local storage as well. Okay, so we can make it the opposite of the check, so something like that. So now let's see. So right now it is actually, as you can see, it is completed, and let's make it incomplete, and if I come here, it is incomplete. Great. And as you can see that the animation is here. And also here I think we are missing some style. This should have this kind of wrapper style, but we are not having it. So let's check in our app. So if I come here, app, and I think we are missing some style here in our app. So in our app wrapper, yeah, we are having the app wrapper, right? In the content, then do we have any kind of content wrapper? So we do not have the content wrapper, so that's why we are not seeing the style. So class name, and let's say that styles dot content wrapper, yeah, like that. So also we need to get the style from the styles modules, and the module name will be the app, I think, yeah, app /app.module.scss. Not modules, it will be module only. Okay, now we are having our style, as you can see. Great, it is looking almost similar, as you can see that, but we are not having the filtering yet. We should have a filter, but yeah, we are having our let's actually make it incomplete, and let's see. As you can see that whenever you are also changing the value from the update, it will actually do the animation here, you can see. So if I make it complete here, as you can see, great stuff. So awesome. Alright, then let's create the filter right now. So we are having the select button, but it is not doing any work right now. So let's actually do some code for this select. So it's in the app header. So app header. So here is our select button. So let's actually add a event listener in this select button, and before that let's actually create the state so that we can actually use the value on this state. So let's actually say that filter status and set filter status. So this will be from our user state false, and now we can actually use this in our select button. So let's say that value will be this filter status, and also set not set on change, we will declare a function. So let's name it update filter. So update filter. So we need to create this function here. So let's actually create it constant update filter equals to. So we need to actually create this function, and here for now let's actually console log updating select. Great. And okay, I can see the problem. So here we are having some typo, so this should be an update filter like that. So now this update filter will run whenever we will actually change the select filter. So let's actually do that. So in our console log, if I change my select, as you can see that updating our select. So now whenever we will change the value of the select, we need to actually create a we need to actually change it on our Redux. So let's go to our slice. So to do slice, and here we have all of those, and let's go to top here. So here we are having this initial value. Here what we need to do is we need to actually add a new value for our filter. So let's actually name it filter status, and let's say that by default it will be all. And also if you want to see your Redux value on your dev tool, you need to actually install this plugin. As I said, the name of the plugin is I believe Redux DevTools, as you can see. So go ahead and install this, and after that you will find this icon in your inspect, means in your developer tools, as you can see that this one. So if you go to this Redux tab, and here you can actually see the value, and for that let's actually go to the chart. Here you will find an option, I believe here. So it will be somewhere here. In my case it is in the bottom down here, as you can see that chart. So in the chart you can see a nice preview of what is going on your Redux. So we have our store. Inside the store we have our to do reducer, and inside that we have all of the stuff. So in the state of our to do we have this two value, and if you can see, here is our status, and here is our to do list, and inside this to do list we have currently these two to do, as you can see that to do 0 and to do 1, and also the value of this filter status is all, as you can see. I really like this chart view of our React store. It is really helpful. What is going on, you can actually directly see it. So after that, let's actually create a reducer to change our filter. So after update to do, let's actually create a new reducer for our updating filters, and let's actually name it update filter status. And here we will have the state, and also we will have our action, and here we will run this method, and let's actually say that update filter status, like that. So here we need to actually change our status. So to do that, we can actually say state dot, now we have this new one, which is the filter status, because as you can see we added this a moment ago. So state dot filter status will be the action dot payload. So whatever will be in the payload, we will set it in our state. So that's it. And right now we can actually export this thing. So let's actually make action from this reducer. So it will create the action and export that, and now we can actually dispatch this action in our app header. So first of all, we need to actually get the action, get the dispatch. So let's actually say that dispatch equals to use dispatch. So this is from the React Redux, as you can see, and now we can say dispatch. So we want to dispatch the update filter to do. So update filter status it is. So we need to import that, and here we need to pass the payload, and here let's say that whatever the value of this select button. So we can actually grab this value, the current value of the select button from the event. So let's actually get the E, and whenever we have the E, we can actually access the value by e.target.value. So it will give us the current value of this select button, and also we need to change our set filter status. We need to change our filter status by this set filter status. So let's actually do it fast, which will actually change the value of this filter status. Ultimately it will able to change this view. As you can see that right now we are seeing all, because this should be all actually, not false. So filter status, the default value will be the all. Or what you can do actually, you can actually get this all from our to-do slice, because in our to-do slice we already told about this initial value will be all. So we can actually get this value from the slice. So let's actually do that. Instead of having this here, hard coded, we will get it from the reducer. So let's actually get that. So for getting a value from reducer, we can say initial filter status will be, we can say use selector, and here we will say state and state dot to do dot filter status. So we will get the value of our we will get the value of this filter status, and right now in this constant we have the initial value. So right now we just can say initial filter status, and whenever now we will run the app, the initial filter status will be this all, and ultimately we are using this initial filter status for this filter status, and the value of this filter status will be all whenever we will run the app first time. So after that, whenever we will change the value of this status, means of the select button, this will run update filter, and here we are actually dispatching this action, and which will ultimately change the value of this Redux. And also beside that, we need to actually change it for this filter status by this method, which is set filter status, and we can actually pass the same thing, e.target.status status, and that's it. So now here I'm thinking is we can actually skip this filter status stuff, means that we are doing here. So we can directly skip this, because ultimately we are getting the value from our Redux, and we are actually using this value, as you can see, in our state, and after that we are using the constant filter status here. So we can skip this directly, and we can name this one, which we are getting from the Redux. We can name this one, let's say that filter status. So filter status, and now we can actually say this one will be the filter status. And now whenever we will change the value here, it will change the Redux, and ultimately this value will also change this filter status. So it will go the cycle. So whenever we will run the app first time, it will actually get the value, which is all, and we will see the value here in the select button. And after that, whenever we will change the button value, it will actually dispatch this action. Ultimately it will change the value on our Redux, and whenever the Redux value will change, we will actually see the updated value on this constant, and ultimately it will actually change the value of the select button. Yeah, I think that's what we can do. And if I want to see if it is working or not, we can actually change the value, and here as you can see that right now the value is all, and if you actually click that, you can see it directly, the value is all. So let's actually change it and make it incomplete, and right now as you can see that it is incomplete, means it is working completely fine. So great, now we are having our value here, and it is actually updating from this Redux, as you can see. And also once again here as you can see that this is the value for our filter status, and we are not saving this in our local storage. This is only on our React Redux. So in this case, whenever we will actually change our value and we will refresh, we will see the initial value once again, means it will not keep the old state, it will actually get the new state, and ultimately it will have the initial state. So great. So now actually let's use this. Whenever we will change it, means based on our filter status, we can actually show our app to do. So let's go to our content. So app content, where we are actually showing all of the to do. So here we need to do the thing. So first of all, what we need to do here, we need to create a constant of filtered to do list equals to, so we can say sorted to do list dot filter, and here we can say item, and inside this item we will see if our filter status, so we need to actually get our filter status from the Redux store. So let's actually get this. So we did the same thing on our on our app header, so we can actually copy this line of code. So this one, so we are getting the filter status from the React Redux. So let's actually copy this line and use this here as well. So now we are actually getting our filter status from the React Redux, and now we can actually check with this filter status. If our filter status is equals to all, then we will actually return true for all of the item. Okay, and after that we will return true if, so return if it match with the filter. So item dot status means every to do have a status. So this status, if this status match with the filter status, filter status, then we will actually basically we are actually checking it. If this match with the filter status, then it will run true, otherwise it will actually return false. So basically we are checking with item status with the filter status. So if it match with the status, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. And whenever it will return false, it will not include the item. If it returns true, it will include the item. So that's what the filter method do. So now what we need to do is we need to actually replace this sort to-do list. We need to use our filter to-do list instead of sorted to-do list in our render function, means in our return function. So copy this and replace this. Okay, and let's do it for the next one. We can filter to-do list and also here filter to-do list. So filtered to-do list. Okay, so now we are actually filtering our filter to-do list, and based on our filter to-do list we will see our updated value. So right now, as you can see that if I go all, we can see everything. If I go incomplete, we are not seeing any to do, because we are actually filtering out everything if it does not match with the status. So the current status is the incomplete, and in our to do there is no to do which have. So let me actually show you. So if I go to the chart once again, and here as you can see that everyone, this one is having complete. So also the other one is also having the complete. So that's why we cannot see any kind of to do here. So if I go to the complete, so we can see both of the to do. Great. So let's actually change one of them, and as you can see that in the completed we can see only one, because other one is now incomplete. So if I go to incomplete, I can see it. So if I go to all, I can see both, because here I said whenever the status is all, return true for every item. So that's it. So that's how we can actually enable this filtered stuff in our application. So now after that, let's actually apply all other animation that we are missing right now. So here we should see this animation, as you can see, and also there will be animation for our this content. Right now everything is now, as you can see that there is no animation, but we will have animation on this. So let's actually finish the content animation, means app content animation first of all. So here as you can see that we are having this div, and inside this we are actually having all of the stuff. So this one, let's actually convert it motion.div instead of only div, and let's actually import the motion from the, not this one, motion. So framer motion, from framer motion we need to actually import that. So right, what I did wrong, let's actually go back. Okay, this one will be the motion, and we need to also set the motion, and let's import the motion. Yeah, fine. So now we are having motion.div instead of just only div. So here in our div we need to actually have some variant. First of all, let's actually create the variant. So let's come here in our let's come here out of this component, and here we need to actually create the variant. First of all, let's actually create a container variant. Here it will be two kind of variant. One will be for our container and another one will be for our each of the child. So now let's actually go to our container variant. So this will be our container variant equals to, and here we will say that hidden. So whenever it will be hidden, opacity will be 1 here, and let's say that visible, and here we will say opacity will be 1, and also scale, we'll scale it up 1, and also this transition will have a stagger animation. So a stagger children, so the duration will be 0.2 second. Awesome. And after that let's come here and create the child variation. So variant, I think that's the name, variant. Yeah, so child variant will be the child, and here we need to specify it, and let's say that hidden. So whenever it will be hidden, y will be 20, so opacity will be 0, and also visible will be the y0 and opacity 1. So yeah, basically in the initial state it will be 20 pixel y, and whenever we will actually see it, it will actually go up, and we will actually increase the opacity from 0 to 1. So we will see a nice animation. And now let's actually come here in our motion div, here in our content wrapper. Let's actually apply this. Let's say that variant. So this one will be the container variant, container, and also for the initial, the variant name for the initial is the hidden, and also animate. So from the initial we will animate it to the visible. So these are the name of our variant. So here inside that, as you can see that this one is having hidden and visible. So those are the things we need to specify. So we need to actually animate it from initial to animate. Okay, so after that we need to do the same thing for our children. So we will not do the children right here, we will do the children in our to do item. Right now here, as you can see that the initial children of this div is this to do item, but we have a children. Whenever there will be no let's actually make everyone complete, and if I go to incomplete, now as you can see that in this case, in this particular case, there will be a children which is this no to do found. So we can actually make the animation for this one here, and other children's animation will be in our to do item. So let's actually do it. So here in our no to do found, here we can actually first of all, let's actually create a paragraph. In this paragraph we will actually have the text no to do's or no to do found. We can now actually remove this, and here in our paragraph we can actually first of all we need to make it motion.p, and after that we need to give it a class. First of all, class name will be the styles.empty text. So if I give this class empty text motion like that, so if I give that text this style, as you can see that we are now having this nice style. Now we need to actually specify the variant. Now let's say that variant will be the child, and that's it. In the child we have our hidden and visible, which already specified in our upper level, so we don't need to do it here. So great. And now whenever we will actually see this whenever we will see this no to do found text animation, so let's actually try it once again with the refresh. Yeah, as you can see that sometime this framer animation needs a refresh, so do it here, and after that check. So as you can see that whenever I go incomplete, it will actually having this sort of nice small animation. So let's actually do the same thing, means do this animation in our add this variant, add this child variant in our to-do item. So let's go to in our to-do item. So let's also copy this child variant. We need to use it in our to-do item. So in our to-do item in the top, let's actually paste it. And now we have this. Let's go to our item here in the first div of this component. We need to actually do that. So variant will be the child. So that's it. We need to actually wrap this whole thing with animate presence. So let's actually do that. So animate presence presence. Okay, so this will be from our motion framework motion, and we need to actually wrap this whole thing with the everything inside this animate presence. And also this one should have a motion.div instead of the regular div, and also we need to import the motion from framework motion. And also we did this mistake. This would be variants. So now if I save and if I go to all, as you can see that this nice animation, and whenever we'll refresh the page, we will see this stagger animation. As you can see, yeah, this is really nice. And if I now go to incomplete this animation, so all the animation is looking great. Now if I make it incomplete and go to incomplete, complete, okay, as you can see that it is looking really nice. I really like this animation, as you can see. Awesome. So now let's actually add the animation on our model. So the model animation will be like that, as you can see. So let's actually do that. So let's go to our model and add the animation. So in our model, first of all, let's actually declare all the variant that we will be using. So let me actually copy and paste. I will not actually write this variant. I will drop it here and I will actually go through each of them. So let's actually paste it. So here it is. So the name of this, you can actually name it anything. So this is drop in, and here for the initial step, it will be opacity 0 and we will have a scale 0.9. But whenever we will actually visible it, we will actually transform it and make it a scale 1, so that we can see here, not this one, this one. So if I actually open it, as you can see that this scale up stuff, this one is happening from this transform scale 9 to 1. Okay, after that opacity 0 to 1, and also the duration will be inside the transition. Duration will be 0.1 second and type will be spring. So this is the animation type, and also we are having this damping and stiffness. So that's it. And after that we have this exit animation, means whenever we will actually close it, what will be there. So we are actually taking the scale down once again, and after that the opacity will be 0. So scale down and opacity 0. So that's what we are doing here. So let's actually go to our model and actually apply this. So first of all, we need to actually wrap this whole thing in our animate presence. So here let's actually do that. So animate presence, and we need to actually wrap the whole thing with this. It will be after this. So after this one, and also I think there will be a curly bracket. Now we are having a top level element, so that's why it should have this curly bracket back. So now we are actually having the whole model inside this animate presence. Fine. And after that we need to actually come here in our div. So the first div, which is the wrapper, so let's actually make it motion.div and import motion. And let's actually come here and say that for the initial step, this one, so this one is the wrapper, which is this one in the background, this black wrapper, as you can see that this is the one. And for this one we will actually do the animation directly here. So we will say initially it will be opacity 0, and after that whenever it will be animate, it will be opacity 1, and also whenever we will exit, it will be opacity 0. And for that, if you want, you can actually declare a variance just like we did here if you want. And also let's actually come here in our actual container where the main stuff will happen. So here we need to actually specify the variance will be the, let's say that drop in. So drop in, and also we need to specify which variant is what. So for the initial, we will say the variant name will be hidden, and also whenever we'll animate, the animate variant will be the visible, and also in exit it will be exit. And animate. Okay, so now we should see it, and let's actually see. So not this one, this one. We are having the soft variant, means in the background it is fine, it is doing its job, but the content animation, it is not actually what we are looking for. Okay, the reason behind that is it is still a regular div, it should be motion.div. Now let's actually test. Now as you can see that we are having this nice scale in animation, and for our this close button we will have this nice animation. As you can see that this sort of from down to top animation. So let's actually add this in our application. So for that, let's actually come here in our div. So this is a closing button div, and let's actually make it motion.div. And here let's say that for the animation we will actually do it here. So for the initial step, we will have the top 40, and the opacity will be the 0, and we will have the animate, and after that, so animate. Here in the animate, the top will be -10, and the opacity will be 1. And whenever we will exit, we will say the top will be 40 and opacity will be opacity will be 0. So that's it. So now let's actually see. Yeah, the animation is looking good, as you can see. So awesome, we are done with this model animation, as you can see. Great job everyone. So one small detail here. So whenever we are actually updating any kind of a task here, so let's actually say whenever we are updating, we are not changing it, we just click this update button. It is saying that no changes made, so that is fine, but it should not close the model, right? So whenever we are actually seeing this error, it should not close the button, should not close the model. So here it is. So we are actually showing this toast error whenever we are not having any kind of change here, as you can see. So in this case, if it happens, we need to actually return after that. So if we return, it will not go further and it will not actually close the model. So let's actually try it. So if I do that, no changes made, but still we have our model. So that's a small mistake I think I did. So I think that's it. Let's actually take a look of our application, and after that we can finish it. So right now let's actually delete everything, and we'll see this no todo found. And here let's actually create a new one. So let's actually say that clean room learn React.js, and yeah, fine. And after that, let's say that create projects. So find everything. We have these 3 to-dos here. Now if I want to check, Yeah, everything is working. And let's now actually edit one. So let's say that update it. Let's say that clean create projects and deploy. Okay, so if I update that, yeah, we can see updated one immediately, and everything is actually sorted based on our time here, as you can see. So the last one is here, and if I filter it, yeah, I can see the filter is also working. And finally, if I want to delete one, so let's actually delete this one. Yeah, everything is working correctly as we expected. So that's it, I think. So that's it, guys. We finished the whole application. If you are following me from the beginning to this end of the project, congratulations to you for following and finishing this whole project with me. I really appreciate that. And if you want to see more content like this one, please subscribe the channel and share this video with your friends and family, so that I can get more inspiration for making this kind of video. So like this video, comment on this video, and also share it. And also, if you want to get more skilled on UI design and stuff like that, you can actually follow us on Instagram, where you will find nice UI design and inspiration and tips and tricks about UI design especially. So if you wanna get skilled on UI design, so make sure to follow us on Instagram. So that's it. I will see you in the next project, the next video. Till then, bye bye. Khuda Hafiz.